стынет.
Контроль туда.
Ukrainian forces have made gradual progress in their counteroffensive launched last month and are urging Western allies to increase pledges of military support. The latest developments on the battlefield come after Ukrainian officials said Russia launched its first drone strike on the capital Kyiv in 12 days. Valery also said Ukrainian troops were advancing with partial success on the southern flank of Bakhmut in the east and near Berdyansk and Melitopol in the south. In the south, he said Ukrainian troops were facing intense enemy resistance, long-range mining, deployment of reserves and were only advancing gradually. They constantly and unceasingly create the conditions for the fastest possible progress, Ukraine's military chief Valery Zaluzhny expressed his frustration in an interview published Friday over the slow delivery of weapons promised by the West. It irks me that some in the West are Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also spoke about F-16 training on Saturday during a visit to Kyiv by Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Meanwhile, Ukraine has become increasingly adept at taking down Russian cruise missiles and drones after pleading with Western allies for greater air defense capabilities. On Sunday, Ukrainian officials said they had successfully neutralized a new drone strike in Kyiv. All enemy targets in the airspace around Kyiv were detected and destroyed, said Sergei Popko, head of the Kyiv City Military Administration. In a separate statement, the Ukrainian Air Force said on Sunday it had shot down 3 Iranian-made cruise missiles and 8 attack drones deployed by Moscow forces overnight. 8 Shahed missiles were launched from the southeast, and 3 Kalibr missiles were launched from the. It did not provide details about the Kyiv attack. Ukrainian forces have made gradual progress in their counteroffensive launched last month and are urging Western allies to increase pledges of military support. The latest developments on the battlefield come after Ukrainian officials said Russia launched its first overnight drone strike on the capital Kyiv in 12 days. Valery also said Ukrainian troops were advancing with partial success on the southern flank of Bakhmut in the east and near Berdyansk and Melitopol in the south. He said Ukrainian troops were facing intense enemy resistance, long-range mining, deployment of reserves and were only advancing gradually. It irks me that some in the West are complaining about the slow start and long-awaited advance against the occupying Russian forces, he told the Washington Post. Zaluzhny said his Western backers would not launch an offensive without air superiority, but that Ukraine was still waiting for the F-16 fighter jets promised by its allies. I believe that some partners are dragging their feet, Zelensky said, referring to F-16 training for Ukrainian pilots. A coalition of European Kyiv supporters led by the Netherlands and Denmark said it would help teach Ukrainian pilots, after the United States gave it the go-ahead in May.
Oh!
As a result of the air battle, the Air Force, in cooperation with the air defense of other components of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, destroyed 13 Shahed 136-131 attack halves. The rest did not reach the target. Preliminary reports indicate no losses. Over the past and present days, the Air Force conducted dozens of airstrikes, 15 of which were aimed at Russian facilities, equipment, logistics and manpower. The first thing that comes to mind when talking about the HIMARS system deployed in Ukraine is its prominent role in wiping out Russian ammunition depots. The next thing is how it disabled key bridges to undermine enemy logistics. But in fact, this is not the work intended for HIMARS. Only the lack of the system in the hands of the Ukrainian armed forces prompted the Ukrainian armed forces to use the artillery system for tasks of this critical caliber. In fact, the HIMARS was originally a weapon with the simpler role. In the U.S. Army it is a brigade-level weapon, so it is not surprising that it has earned the nickname the Commander's Personal Rifle in American military circles. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces shows what happens when HIMARS starts working in its intended conditions and the role it is intended for, including counter-battery warfare. And this is the main advantage of HIMARS in being able to launch such an attack while staying about 80 kilometers from the target, out of the reach and the threat of artillery counterattack. Plus the mobility possessed by HIMARS allows it to change its firing position quickly. A reasonable question then arises: isn't it cheaper to use artillery shells, for example the high-precision M982 Excalibur instead of GMLRS missiles? Here the numbers will tell. One M982A1 Excalibur costs $177,860 as follows from a recent contract.